The Liberal Party of Canada is Canada's globalist party. And many have suggested Justin Trudeau is likely the last of his kind, the last true globalist to be elected, as we see the world shifting towards economic nationalism and skepticism towards the unfettered immigration policies of globalist governments now on their last legs. We know for a fact that our Prime Minister is a Canadian identity denier. Remember when he told the New York Times this shortly after becoming Prime Minister? Quote, "There is no core identity, no mainstream in Canada. There are shared values, openness, respect, compassion, willingness to work hard, to be there for each other, to search for equality and justice. Those qualities are what make us the first post-national state," unquote. So it should come as no surprise that with the release of some access to information documents from Global Affairs, that our government was actively interfering in the Brexit vote and pushing for a Remain side win. Now, most of the best parts are still redacted, like the recommendations on the first page and the risks associated with taking either side. But what is interesting is the justification they use for interfering is simply that the globalists running David Cameron's government and campaigning for Remain were inviting allies to weigh in. Then it talks about President Obama and how he weighed in. Yeah, you think that played well in the Midlands or the English and Welsh countryside, having someone like Obama come to Britain to tell them how to vote, and even threaten them, suggesting they will be put at the back of the queue for future trade deals.
I think it's fair to say that maybe some point down the line there might be a UK-US trade agreement, but it's not going to happen anytime soon because our focus is in negotiating with a big bloc, the European Union, to get a trade agreement done. And UK is going to be in the back of the queue.
What's even more amazing is Global Affairs and our government thinking that Stefan Green Shift Dion could somehow tip the scales in Remain's favor. Just look at one of the recommendations. Quote, "Your comments would not achieve wide publicity in the United Kingdom per se, but may be tweeted or otherwise disseminated by the UK government and the Remain campaign, and therefore remove any doubt as to Canada's view and mitigate any risk of the Leave campaign using Canada's silence in support of its cause," unquote. Boy, that is an awfully big inference for the staff at Global Affairs Canada who wrote that to make. But it really is a little hint into just how worried our globalists at Global Affairs were and how they think it was oh so necessary for Canada to pick a side. You know, I'm really starting to think that Justin Trudeau is beginning to see himself as the last of the globalists and some kind of strange post-nationalist counterbalance to President-elect Trump. I mean, just look how interested Justin was in not only commenting on the Brexit vote himself, but having our government officially take a position and do so to aid the Remain campaign. And yet, he has gone out of his way to avoid meeting with President-elect Trump, despite the fact Canada and the US have the strongest economic and political relationship of just about any two nations on Earth. It's bad enough our Prime Minister hasn't visited Trump Tower during his transition, but for nobody from our government, Global Affairs nor Finance, to have even visited the transition team, even just to be polite, is an awfully big indicator that Trudeau wants to stake out the other side in whatever the Trump administration will be pursuing. We already saw two hints of this last week. First, when Vice President Joe Biden visited Ottawa, a further indication Trudeau is avoiding the Trump administration. And Biden stated that the world will look to Prime Minister Trudeau as the liberal international order faces challenges. Yeah, he really said that. And then again last week at the First Minister's meeting when Justin Trudeau smugly brushed off the concerns of Premier Brad Wall over the competitiveness of Canada versus the US under a Trump administration. It is that position and that smug globalist thinking that somehow Canada needs to be a leader in carbon taxes or the liberal international order, as Biden put it, that will cause oh so much economic pain in Canada as the power of the US economy and US leadership is unleashed under President Donald J. Trump. For the Rebel.Media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Thank you so much for watching, and if you're one of the people that has already contributed to our big plan going forward, I want to personally thank you. But we have a number of items that we could still use your help on. And sure, they're not the most glamorous, but they are all so important for us to keep getting the message out there and produce top quality videos. So if you want to check out thebigplan.ca, we will truly be appreciative of anything you can contribute to.